Thank you so much for joining us. This is a great crowd. It's an early morning session, so thank you for waking up and spending some of your morning with us. Very much appreciate it. So what we're going to be talking about today is ArcGIS Maps for Power BI. It's a relatively new app or visual that we're doing in partnership with Microsoft. And since we're talking about Microsoft, I'd like to recognize Łukasz Pawlowski. He's our Microsoft partner. He's our the person on the Microsoft side that we work with most to get this thing built. So thank you very much, Łukasz, for joining us today. If you have any questions for Microsoft folks, it's this guy right here. Yep. So I figured I'd want to start with kind of asking folks, like, who's currently using Power BI? How many current Power BI users do we have? That's great to see. Who's here just trying to learn what Power BI is and what ArcGIS Maps for Power BI is? Okay, that's a pretty good number. So we don't have any Power BI specific things at the beginning talking about what it is, but we will get into it a little bit through some demos. We do have a Microsoft booth as well here. So if you want to go play with Power BI itself, go find the Microsoft booth and they have workstations set up where you can try it out. Awesome. So I do have just a little bit of text pulled from the Microsoft site talking about what Power BI is, in case you don't really know, don't really have any idea what Power BI is. It's a pretty cool tool. It's actually a suite of tools provided in the cloud, on the desktop, also in government clouds. You can connect to a ton of different data sources, helps you simplify data prep, drive your analysis, and produce some really nice looking, beautiful reports using a number of visualizations, one of which is the visualization we're going to be talking about today. And you can share these so that people within your organization can take a look at the things that you're finding out about your business data. So with that said, I want to cover why is BI plus spatial important, and that's what we're talking about today. This is, like I mentioned at the beginning, a very unique partnership for Esri. We developed this thing with Microsoft. Our development teams, our design teams, our product management teams are working together to make this thing. This is unlike anything Esri has really done before, so it's pretty special. And so I wanted to talk about why merging BI and spatial is important. A Gartner report in 2017 had a couple things to say about this. It's starting to gain the attention of Gartner, and GIS in general and location and spatial in general is becoming a very hot topic within the larger business world. And so Gartner says that properly analyzing location can provide insights that support and improve decision making in everything from marketing to supply chain logistics and operations. This is probably not going to come as a surprise to you because you know the value and the power of spatial. But people beyond the GIS audience are starting to recognize this. And that's kind of where this visual comes into play. With the larger business world gaining access to location-based streams of insights, it's going to be critical for digital businesses going forward in the future. So as we move into the future, location is going to become a lot more important. It already is important, but it's going to continue to become more important. And one of the things that we really try to do with this visual is make spatial easy. Because new tools and access to data are allowing people that have never been able to do spatial analysis before to do spatial analysis. So these tools need to be easy to use, they need to be powerful, they need to be targeted right at the things that business users need to do within their business. So I also wanted to mention and show the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Are you guys familiar with Magic Quadrants? You know what these things are? Have you seen them before? Not that many people. That's interesting. So Magic Quadrants are really powerful because this analysis group, Gartner, they take a look at all the players within an industry. And so this is showing the Magic Quadrant for the BI industry. And it takes those players and it ranks them on these two axes, along ability to execute on the vertical axis and completeness of vision on the horizontal axis. And as you might imagine, you want to be in the top right quadrant, right? So the people up there are the leaders in the field. The people down in the bottom left don't have as much completeness of vision, don't have as high ability to execute, and so those are considered niche players. And so as you can see, looking through, Microsoft, as of 2017, is in the very far top right. So they're a very strong player in this BI space, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to partner with them. So talking about ArcGIS Maps for Power BI, this is a brand new visual, as I mentioned. It started probably about 1 year ago. We started development efforts in earnest. We went into preview last September, and we're very proud that as of last month at the Microsoft Data Insights Summit, we became generally available to all Power BI users for free, baked into Power BI. So that's a pretty important thing. Unlike some of the other ArcGIS Maps apps that you might be familiar with in the ArcGIS platform, this is one that is built into Power BI. There's nothing to download. There's nothing to set up and configure. There's nothing outside of Power BI that you need to do. If you've downloaded Power BI or if you're using Power BI service, you have it. It's already there. It's available to users on desktop, in the service, and in GovCloud. So if you've not seen it before, this is what the desktop in Power BI looks like. You've got your big report canvas where you can drag visuals onto the canvas and start adding your business data to those visuals to start to come up with some really nice reports to see patterns and trends in your data. In the area where I have the red circle, that's your visualization toolbox. Those are the visuals that you can actually bring onto the report and start building those reports. The one that's circled in red is actually an Esri globe. That Esri globe is how you get the ArcGIS Maps for Power BI visual onto your report. So I'm going to go through some of the basic functionality quickly, and we're going to show you some demos so that you can actually see how this thing works. So again, I've circled in red and kind of made it a little bit bigger so you can see what you would actually click to add the ArcGIS Maps visual onto your report. And so once you do that, you get a list of field wells. And field wells are really how you interact with visuals within Power BI. And so there are a number of field wells that you want to pay attention to. The most important one probably is the location field well, because that's how you're going to get your business data from your fields that you've added to Power BI onto the map. So if you have any kind of location data, such as a zip code or an address or even just a country name, you can drag that into the location field well. And the location field well will be smart enough to hopefully know what you're dragging in there and just map it for you automatically. You've got quite a bit of smarts baked in, no matter whether it's a point or a polygon type of area. The next ones that you want to think about are the latitude and longitude field wells. If you have latitude and longitude, which is probably pretty likely for this crowd, you would want to use latitude and longitude. We do recommend that if you have it, you should use it because you get higher data limits within the visual. You can add essentially more points to the map if you do it this way as opposed to using the location field. Moving down. Once you've got your points or your areas on the map, you can use some of the other field wells moving down that list on the right. You can use the size field well to quickly bring in a value that will determine how big each of the points are rendered. And so that is a point-focused field well. Below that, we have the color field well. So if you want to visualize based on color instead of by size, you could bring a value, or be it numerical or categorical, into the color field well, and that will drive the styling on your map. You can use the size and color field wells at the same time, so you could have something in size and in color, so that you could have bivariate mapping very quickly, very easily. And moving down, again, is the time field well. If you have time data in your Power BI data, you can drag it in there and it will add a little playback bar so that you can actually start to see temporal patterns in your data as well. You can scrub through it. You can extend the time range or narrow it down based on how you want to see it, but it really is kind of just a playback tool to show you your patterns in your data over time. And finally, at the bottom, the last basic field well that you need to be aware of is the tooltips field well. And so the tooltips field well is what you can use if you want to see more attributes from your data set on each point. So it's basically configuring your pop-ups. If you want to add more fields or add more things to your pop-ups, you drag them into the tooltips field well, and then they show up whenever you hover over one of your locations. So those are the basics. And now, to show you the basics, DJ is going to show you a demo. Oh yeah, we didn't do introductions, did we? I'm Scott Ball. So. I'm the product manager for this product. This is DJ Barry.
Hello.
He's a product engineer on the product. And yeah, DJ, take it away.
There we go. All right, now that you know who I am, so this is what you're looking at, the Power BI report editor. And like Scott mentioned, you have these visualizations here on this little palette. And if I want to add a visual such as a bar chart, I can click on it, drag it around, and then I can say, I want to look at sales by state. And there we go. I got a nice little bar chart very quickly. And that's sort of the core of Power BI is that it's very responsive, very quick. You can iterate very, very quickly and easily. And so if I wanted to add a map, I'll click on that. I'm going to actually make it a little larger to start off with here. And then I'm going to add points onto it. So for geocoding, it's usually best if you have all of your location data concatenated into a single line. So normal street address, city, state, zip as a single line address. Drag that onto the location field. And now it's sending it off to the world geocoder. And it'll be adding points onto the map, just like that. There we go. And so now I want to start doing some styling. I'm going to come over here. I can grab sales, again, drag it into size, and it'll render it by size immediately. Maybe I want to look at it using color, so now the darker colors represent higher sales here. Maybe I want to look at a little bit of both. Perhaps I wanted actually second quarter sales, and I want to look at it by categories, such as by, I don't know, account manager, or in this case I've got a state field, so I'm just going to use that as my category, and it'll render it immediately using size and color. If I come down here further, you can see again that time field well. Go up here and grab dates such as sell by date or some other time field, and it'll add that time slider onto the map. Oh, I think we ran into an internet issue. There we go. And now I can move through my data by time, adjust the time interval, which is pretty cool. And then Scott mentioned this tooltip field well right here at the bottom. So maybe, I want first quarter sales. I've got maybe a little more time info in there. Perhaps I have some random numbers or something I want to put in there in my report. And so when I look at my tooltips or pop-up, you can see right here, all of my data is right there in the tooltip. And then I can start interacting with my report. So perhaps I want to see everything that's in Illinois. I'm going to get rid of this time field so it looks a little bit better here. Or perhaps I want to see everything in Indiana. Or perhaps I can come over here and use these selection tools on the map to make a selection and filter the other visuals by it, just like that. So it's a very, very quick interactive report here. And before I turn this back to Scott, I want to point out this little overflow menu right here. This is actually really, really important because hidden inside of it, we have this edit button. And this is where you can get access to a lot of the advanced features for Power BI. And we'll get into this more into a minute, but I'll let you take a look at this really quick. All right, so there you have it.
Cool. Thanks, DJ. So I think that's pretty cool. He touched on some really basic fundamentals of what the visual does and how you can configure it, how you can set it up. He also touched a little bit on how you can start to do a little bit of spatial analysis. This crowd probably doesn't really think of that as spatial analysis, being able to select some points on the map and interact with the other visuals. But at a basic level, it really is. And it's something that isn't available to a lot of BI users today. This is one of those things that is starting to bring that power of spatial to the BI crowd. And so I just wanted to highlight that again, that that is one of those things that is new to the BI user as of this visual. So jumping back in, as DJ mentioned, one of the critical pieces of this visual that you need to know about is that edit button, because we do have the basics, we have those field wells, and that's the general way that you interact with our visual. But we also have a lot more functionality for report authors, people that really want to kind of take the visual a little bit further if those default colors or default ways that we're showing things aren't quite cutting it for you, if you want to customize it just a little bit more. So once you go into that edit mode, you're going to get that toolbar, and there are a number of things on that toolbar, and I'm going to run through those now. So the first one on the far left are base maps. And so base maps really help you make, you guys know what base maps are. You know why you pick base maps. They help your data stand off. They really help it pop off. And so for this visual, for this free visual, we've included 4 default base maps. We've included dark gray canvas and light gray canvas, which are really good depending on what your data is looking like and what colors you're liking. It can really help your data pop. We have also included OpenStreetMap, which has quite a bit more detailed information. And we've also included the Esri Streets map in case you're doing anything related to transportation or anything where you would want to see road networks, etc. We think that these 4 base maps provide a lot of functionality for our users in this BI space. So moving over, after you've picked your base map that you want to use, we have a tab called Location Types. And so location types help you go a little bit further. We do a pretty good job at being smart about what you drag into the location field well, but in case we get it wrong, or in case you want to further refine how that's being mapped, you can use this location type tab to go in. And the first thing that you can do is switch between points and boundaries. So if we map it as points and you really want it as boundaries, you can flip it over and vice versa. You can also tell us if the locations are in one country or many countries. If they're in one country, you can tell us which country that is, because we have a list of standard geographic boundaries for a lot of countries. So this is truly a global visual. It is localized into all the languages that ArcGIS is localized into. We have many, many standard geographic boundaries across the globe. So once you pick one of those countries, you'll see a custom list for that country that shows the standard boundaries that we have for that country. So if you're wanting to map to, let's say, Brazilian states and not United States states, this is where you could go in and do that. Let me see if there's anything else on there. I think what we should do now is maybe take a look at it.
All right.
What do you think?
That sounds pretty good to me, Scott.
Cool.
Oh, I don't think it switched.
All right. Let's try it again.
Nope.
Come on, switcher.
All right. All right, so now we've got another report here. And like Scott was saying, we automatically recognize a lot of key terms and a lot of metadata to automatically add certain boundaries to the map. So I've got US states here, drag that to location field well, and now it's going to add US states to the map really quickly here. Or if the internet decides to cooperate with us. Let's see here. There we go. Just like that, you get your US states. And you can style these using various, using a lot of the same rendering options that you saw earlier, so by color and the like. But now let's say I wanted to add Brazil states. So I add my visual onto the map, drag my state field into location, and you'll see it starts to load, but it's not going to work out. Failed to locate 27 features. Oh, man. So you come in here to edit mode, click on location type, and this tool is really cool because, as Scott said, you can use it to refine your geocode. So if you've added addresses and it accidentally puts something in another country, you can very quickly tell it, no, you're in the US, you're in Great Britain. In this case, we want boundaries. I can choose what country I want to look at. So right now I've got US. What I want is Brazil. And then you'll notice here, this dialog for location type populates according to the country you've selected. So you're not going to get the same boundaries in Brazil that you're going to get in the US because they don't have the same subdivisions. Same thing with France and Russia and all these other countries throughout the world. So it gives you the subdivisions for that country. In this case, I really want states. Click OK. And now I've got my Brazil states. So I think you're safe for your next vacation, Scott.
That's good stuff. Thank you, DJ. So moving across, again, we've got map themes as the next section over. And map themes are really, we have things, those are our rendering types. And so you can select things like heat maps or clustering or using size and color. So depending on how you want the map to look, that's where you would change what we're calling map themes. And again, this is something that we're using some terminology and we're kind of changing some of the GIS speak into speak that might be more accessible to a BI user, just a standard business user, trying to kind of de-GIS it a little bit. So map themes, when you see that term, that really just means it's a renderer. So you're picking what renderer you want, and then once you pick what renderer you want, you can change the symbol style options. And so the symbol style options, I think, will make sense to you. You can change the size, the transparency, the color, the line thickness, etc., to really make the map look the way that you want it to, whether you want to kind of make it match your corporate color schemes or make it really look a lot better. We do apply, if you're familiar with ArcGIS smart mapping, we do apply smart mapping defaults by default. So you should be getting pretty nice maps to begin with and pretty nice color schemes to begin with, but if you want to change it, you can. And so DJ is going to run us through another demo scenario, kind of showing how you can change some of those themes to really make your data stand off of the map.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see, is the switcher? Nope.
Oh my.
There we go. All right, so now I've got a report here with data from NOAA, and this is weather events that have occurred in highly agricultural states. And I want to create a report on this. So as usual, I'll drag my visual onto the map. And I've got some lat-long data, so I can throw that on there pretty quick. And I know I'm going to want to do some styling here, so I'm going to hop into this edit mode, which is where all the really more advanced functionality lives. And I know I'm going to be representing things with color, so I'm going to go with the dark gray canvas base map. Let's see. Come on. Wow. There we go.
So we're on the same Wi-Fi as you guys. So.
Yeah. Please have mercy on us. Yeah. Don't upload your Snapchats, please. Not yet. And so I've got my dark gray canvas on here. And I'm really interested in seeing things like estimated crop loss. I'm going to do that by size. And I'm going to a categorical field here, event type. So I'm going to drag that into color. There we go. Now, let's see. I can look at this using location only, heat map for people who are really in love with heat maps. Moving on. I can use just the size renderer by itself, color, just to get an idea of where each event's occurring. Again, the size and color theme, which was the default. And then, of course, you can use clustering to get some pie charts. So perhaps you've got thousands and thousands of points on there, and it's just a little too much. You can get some pie charts on the map and get an idea of what's happening where. We're going to stick with size and color for now. And I'm going to tweak the styling just a little bit. I really want these colors to pop, so I'm going to turn down transparency here. Let's see, maybe I want diamonds, maybe I want squares. And then, of course, I can come in here using different classification types, so I can use equal interval, standard deviation, quantile. I can adjust the max and min size. And, of course, I can change different colors if I want to. In this case, I was pretty happy with all the defaults for the most part. And I can hop right back to those smart defaults really quickly and easily. But I'm going to leave the transparency because it just pops a little bit better. So there we go. I've got a map that looks pretty good here. It tells a lot of the story. Now I can start doing a little bit of analysis, or I can create a report that a manager can look at. They can do things like, okay, I just want to see the hail events. All right, I can see the tornado events. Wind. Okay. What about hail in North Dakota? Oh, interesting. And you can go through, you can filter the visual different ways, you can look at your data in different combinations and things like that. And it's very quick, very responsive, and hopefully really easy to use. All right? Cool. So there you have it. You can use different renders to see your data in different ways and then filter it.
Cool. Thanks, TJ. So again, once we're back in edit mode, moving across the toolbar left to right, we've got pins and drive times. And I talk about these, they're two separate features, but I talk about them together because they're pretty powerful together. You can add important locations to you using pins because your Power BI data might be changing all the time. It might be moving. Your Power BI data points might be showing up, appearing, disappearing, whatever. If you want something to stay on the map at all times, to provide a visual reference point, you would want to add a pin. These are things like maybe franchise locations or whatever the important location to you might be. You can add it. We've got a little search box up there that you can search for addresses or points of interest or whatever it might be and add new pins that way. And you can, I think, add up to 10 pins.
Oh, you can have 10 groups of pins.
10 groups of pins. And so each one of those groups can have a different color associated with it. So if you did a search, let's say for pizza, that would be one group. And so it would find all the pizza in San Diego, for example. And you could color those as like a green pin. You could look for all the Starbucks in San Diego, have that as another group, and show those as a different color pin. So those are what pins are. And those are ways to show locations that are important to you on the map at all times. Drive times are pretty interesting because you can create interactive drive time areas around any of your locations. You could create it around your Power BI data, but again, like I said, your Power BI data might be changing all the time, so you might create a drive time around a Power BI data point, and then that data point goes away, and then you're left with the drive time. It might be useful for you, but just be aware that that could happen. That's why I talk about drive times in relation to pins, because you could do, let's say, a 10 or 15-minute drive time around one of your stores or one of your important locations. And so as you can see in the screenshot here, it will give you a visual indication of how far that drive time is and what it looks like. But the really powerful thing is you can also use it interactively. So if you have Power BI data all around your store, you could actually use this as like a cookie cutter to make a selection of the areas that are within, or of the locations that are within that area. And then that will filter and highlight your other report visuals, which is starting to get really pretty powerful. It's again, another one of those steps into giving the power of spatial analysis to people who haven't had the power of spatial analysis before. And TJ, why don't you show them how it works?
All right. So we're going to go off into Imaginationland here. So Scott and I have started a restaurant where we're doing deliveries, and we want to answer a few questions. So right here we have a map of all the places we've made deliveries to, and we want to know, how many sales are we getting within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we have a potential location we're looking at. How many of these current customers would be within 5 or 10 minutes of this new location? So to start answering some of those questions, we'd come over here to edit mode. And I'm going to add a pin here. So let's see here. Our restaurant. You remember where it is, Scott?
I do not.
You do not? Okay.
No, I have a really bad memory.
Oh, man. We should probably go there once in a while. So this is the imaginary restaurant that we're running. And then I've got over here the potential new location. Let's see, I know how to type, I promise. There we go. And you can change the colors, so maybe I want our current restaurant to be green, and I want our potential new restaurant to be gold. And what should we be selling, Scott?
Yesterday we did Chinese food.
So maybe breakfast burritos?
Breakfast burritos today.
Okay.
Yeah.
DJ and Scott's Breakfast Burrito Bistro. There we go.
Just rolls off the tongue.
Mm-hmm. And then proposed location 1. And so now I've got a couple pins on my map for our locations, and now I want to get some drive time info. So I come over here to the drive time tool, And I'm going to zoom in to make it a little easier to select. And I select the first pin, and I select the second pin. Here we go. And we're saying about 5 minutes. Neither one of us likes to drive. No. So might be a problem for a delivery company, but you know. All right, so just like that, I've got some drive times on my report. And you can change the colors if you'd like to, do some editing. I'm going to leave it as purple for right now. So this will help us answer the first part of the question, but I really want something on the second part, which is, okay, 10-minute drive times. And I really don't feel like completely recreating this map. So we can do something kind of cool in Power BI, which is copy and paste visuals. One of our developers did Control-C, Control-V on this and just blew my mind. So I can come in here, click on Edit, and this is, I really want a 10-minute drive time, so this is a 5-minute, so I will have to redo that one, but I don't have to geocode again, I don't have to look up all my pins again, I don't have to style again. It's really good for a pair of lazy restaurant owners like us. There we go, and we're going to get a 10-minute drive time. Click OK. And there we go. Got 10-minute drive times around each location. And in this case, I am going to change the color. So maybe I want a gold or an orange color. Or maybe we'll stick with this. I think that'll look okay. So there we have it. And now I can start to do some filtering of my data to see what it looks like. So I can come over here and see this tool. I showed a little bit on the single select tool, a little bit on this lasso select tool. But this here is area select, or in this case what we call a drive time select. So I can click on the buffer, and you'll notice it selects all of the features within that buffer, and it filters all the other visuals. I can come over here, click on the other buffer, and it'll do it again. And of course, works for 10-minute drive times as well. Oh, I don't think I clicked on the buffer there. So completely interactive, allows you to create interactive reports using drive times. You can add pins onto the map to get an idea of different locations and do some really cool analysis. So I think the big takeaway here is we should probably stick with software, maybe not restaurants.
Absolutely. Absolutely, DJ. So that's a really quick and easy way to create drive times and expose that power to a whole new audience. We think that it's something that people are going to be really excited about. So the next thing that I want to talk about, after talking about pins and drive times, is talking about demographic layers. And so, again, this is a GIS crowd. You guys are used to using tons of layers. You guys are used to pulling data from everywhere and munging it and getting it together. What we really wanted to do is make the experience very easy for the Power BI user to get into some of the really powerful demographic content that Esri has and that Esri provides. And so what we've done is we've provided 10 US-based demographic layers that people can use to start to add some context to their Power BI business data. So they might have like store sales data, but they want to see it in conjunction with some kind of Esri demographic data that we've got. So we've provided these demographic layers as ways to just very quickly add things like average household income or average household size or diversity index. Like I said, we had 10 of these that we've kind of handpicked, and we figured some of the top ones that will provide some value to these business reports. And so once you add those, they both provide a visualization. They provide you basically a choropleth map. These are US-based, so it's going to be a choropleth map across the US. And you're going to see high values and low values and start to be able to just quickly glance and see patterns in the underlying demographics. If you click on one of these areas, then you'll get some more information about it, and that's what you're seeing in the pop-up right there. And these are also scale dependent. So as you zoom in and out, they're going to reconfigure and reform based on the appropriate polygons for your scale level. So these are a really powerful, quick way to get some more information about the area that you're looking at. We also have, in this same reference layer area, ArcGIS reference layers. So if one of those 10 isn't exactly what you want, you can go out and search ArcGIS online for reference layers that you might be interested in. So anything that is publicly shared to ArcGIS Online is searchable. Any feature services that are publicly shared to ArcGIS Online are publicly searchable here inside this ArcGIS tab of the reference layer tool. So as you can imagine, this can start to be pretty powerful. Esri has a lot of authoritative content providers, people like NOAA, National Weather Service. A lot of people publish their authoritative data onto ArcGIS, and you can use those in your ArcGIS Maps visuals inside Power BI. They are selectable, so you can use them to make selections just like DJ was making selections with the drive times. So I think you can start to see some of this power that people are going to have or do have now inside Power BI when you start to be able to use any layer out on ArcGIS Online that's publicly shared to make selections of your business data. It's pretty interesting stuff. Next thing that I want to talk about, moving to the right of reference layers, are infographics. And so infographics are another way to expose that wealth of demographic data that Esri has. We have exposed, I think, 60 or 65 variables. Again, kind of curated, picked which ones we think will make the most sense and help add the most value to these business reports. And what happens is when you click on that tool in the toolbar, you get a pane on the left. It's a variable picker, essentially, and you pick which variables you want to see. And then on the right of the map, you get a little infographics card. We're calling them infographics cards, and they will show you a number or a bar chart that is representative of the demographics of the area that you're looking at in your window right now. And so as you pan and zoom, those numbers will update immediately. Hopefully on the Wi-Fi today, that doesn't make me a liar, but they should update very quickly, very immediately, so that as you pan and zoom, drill into areas, you can see things like the population or the gender breakdown of the particular area that you're looking at, whatever it might be. So with that said, DJ, show us another demo.
Haha, it switched right away. So what we're looking at here is Scott's and my new venture. We got out of the restaurant business, and now we're in the insurance business. And these are policy values we have in Florida. And so the size of the features is how much the policy value is worth. So bigger circles, worth more. And the color of the feature is the policy type. So red is home, black is commercial, green is car. And Florida's been known to get the occasional storm, sprinkling, 200 mile per hour breeze, and we'd really like to make sure our policy values are not going to bankrupt us. So we're going to come in here to the reference layer feature. And we could come through here and get some ideas like average household income and the like and add that. But it's really not what we're looking to do right now. What we really want is the ArcGIS tab. So I'm going to remove that layer I just added and search for a public layer that Scott uploaded earlier called Storm Surge.
And so this could be any layer. It could be uploaded by your organization and shared publicly. It could be shared by one of our partners, like Weather Service. It could come from anywhere. But if it's on ArcGIS Online and shared publicly, you'll see it in this list.
So I just click Add, and it's quickly added to the map. And even though this is a public layer that's Scott uploaded, I still have access to things like the pop-ups on it. Or what we really want it for is to be able to interact with the rest of our report with it. So come over here and choose that Area Select tool. Then I can click on one of these buffers, and it filters the other visuals to show, okay, you know what, we've got a little over $2 million here. We've got, let's see here in this red zone where it's going to be bad. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. And so we can get a really quick idea of how much money we have invested in these different areas along the Florida coast. Let's see here, but do we want some more info, Scott?
I think it'd be helpful.
Some more like infographic info? So we can come in here into the edit mode and click on these infographics variables that Scott was talking about earlier. So maybe I just want a whole bunch of population data. Don't really need age, but maybe I want some income information. And what's really kind of cool is when I take my map and I zoom or pan, these numbers update in real time as you're moving the map and showing you the values, the demographic info for your current extent. So if I zoom in here to one of, say, policy sections, I can usually get an idea of what the demographic data is like. So there we go.
Very cool stuff. So that is it as far as the functionality in this visual goes. It's a very focused, targeted visual. We're really looking at the Power BI user that has never really experienced GIS before. And so this is allowing them to do what we feel is a pretty powerful set of features, but it is not going to be the entire ArcGIS platform crammed into Power BI.
We've really tried to make it accessible for people who are very data focused, but maybe don't have a GIS background, and to really empower them.
Yep. And so that concludes the demos and the feature discussion part of the session today. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter session, but I do want to talk about some things before we get to the Q&A, which we'll get to here in just a minute. We do usability studies all the time, and we do have designers on site today. So we very much encourage you to please stop by the usability lab section. We're seeing the expo floor layout. The main hallway is down there at the bottom. So if you walk into the expo area, it's in the back left. So if you want to see some new designs, or you want to participate or get your name on a list to help us out with usability studies in the future, please stop by that area and talk to our great design folks. If you want to talk to people
like
DJ that are on the product team, both developers and product engineers, head over to the app island, which is kind of in the back right. It's circled there in red. You can use the product. We have 2 workstations set up with Maps for Power BI, so if you want to either throw your own data at it or just play with some test data that we have, you can do that, or talk to people about the product a little bit more. And you can meet the team, which is sometimes kind of fun. So some more resources that I wanted to give to you folks. The first thing is our GeoNet community. That's really where we're going to be interacting with the Power BI community and the ArcGIS Maps community. That's where I check that all the time. And so if you have questions, if you have feature enhancements that you want to suggest, if you have things like that, please go to that GeoNet community and let us know what you think about the visual. That's where I'm going to be kind of cultivating our backlog from. So that's a very important link. If you want documentation about how this thing works, I mean, it's a pretty simple app, so I don't think you're going to need a lot of documentation, but we do have a really great doc site, so that's there. And if you want basically a condensed version of this session online to share with your colleagues back at the office, we do have an intro training seminar that I did at that YouTube link, so that might be helpful as well. With that said, I'm going to open it up to Q&A at this point. I know that in some of our other sessions, I've had people come up after the session and say, I'm a little shy, I don't want to ask my question in front of everybody. Feel free to do that. Or if you have a question for me, sball@esri.com is where you can send those questions or feature enhancements or other things that I have a feeling I'm going to hear about here in just a second.
Or, of course, come down to the booth and we can do the best we can to answer your questions there, too.
Yeah. So, Q&A time. I see purple shirt. The question is, can you add custom base maps? No, you cannot. Not at this time. Yeah. Tan shirt.
Along the same, is there any future consideration at all for custom feature layers or connecting to an organization link?
Yeah. So that was the question I was expecting. The question was, is there any way to add custom anything or add items from your organization that might be secured inside your ArcGIS organization? Right now, the answer is no. We are actively listening to you folks and trying to hear what you want. So I would really it would help me a lot if you could email me with those requests. Let me know what organization you're coming from. Let me know how many users this is going to impact and how many people would like to see this functionality within your organization. That's going to help me a lot as we do backlog prioritization. Striped shirt here in the front.
Two questions. One is, can you set up this in the disconnected environment?
Question is, can you set it up in a disconnected environment? I believe the answer to that today is no. The question was, can we compare between this and Insights for ArcGIS? And yes, I can. This is generally kind of that entry-level touch point for people that have never done GIS before. And so it's kind of we think of a spatial maturity curve. And so this is kind of at the beginning of that spatial maturity curve whenever people are starting to learn what they can do with spatial and are not current Esri customers. For Insights, that's doing a little bit more spatial. It's focused more on spatial. So there are a bit more advanced spatial tools included in it. And it's for people who are existing Esri customers. So that's kind of your comparison matrix. Check shirt. So the question was, what are the performance limitations on this? And that's a great question. So if you're using the location field, I believe we're at 4,000 points in areas right now.
I think so.
Okay, we're at if you use the location field, 4,000 points in areas. If you use latitude, longitude, I believe we're at 10,000 points. Trying to think of some of the other performance things. Drive times, we have a max of like 30 minutes.
And then 10 drive time buffers on the map at any one time.
Yeah, and so we really have been trying to make sure that this is a good experience. We are testing very closely to see, we don't want people to get into a space where the map is crashing on them all the time. And so we have kind of constricted this down to make sure we only are allowing users to do things that are performant and good. So they might feel a little low, but we're trying to just make the best experience possible. Yeah. I see a hand in the back here. You. So the question was about licensing. Is everything included in the standard Power BI download? Yes. You don't have to think about licensing at all. This is a free thing included in the free version of Power BI. Yep. Yep.
Yes, I have a couple questions. Can you import a color palette or a style, and can you force the map and chart displaying the same data to display the same colors?
Okay, so the question was about color. One, can you import custom color options, right? And two was, can you make the map match other visuals? Is that what it was? Or
Yeah, like you have a chart on like the NOAA data, you have points on the one side and the bar chart on the other.
Yep.
Could you force those to show the same color for the same data?
So yeah, can we force that to show the same color as data in other visuals? Right now, no, but I think that's a great suggestion. Like I've kind of run into that myself when, I want my bar chart to look the same as my points on the map, and I think that'd be a really, really useful enhancement, but you can't do that right now.
I mean, you can do it a little bit.
You can do it
going in there
manually.
and edit each category color, which is
right, and we do use the Power BI default color schemes, so whatever color defaults are picked by the bar chart, you could go in and manually set them to those exact colors, but it doesn't do it automatically, and there's no way to say, like, use this theme here.
Yeah, and it's something that's definitely on our radar.
Yeah.
Can you bring in a palette?
Not right now. Yeah. Yep. White shirt. Yes. And so the question, I think, is about standard geographies and how do we build our standard geography list? Is that right? Or where does it come from? Can you see zip codes on the map as we did with the states? I believe the answer is yes. I mean, if you have zip code data in your Power BI fields, you can drag that into location and that will map areas like polygons, and it will show you the polygons for those zip codes. Absolutely. Block IDs, such as like census tracts and census block groups, that kind of thing. Yes. Yep, we have those
I
as
mean,
well.
it does vary a little bit from one country to another, but like for the US, we go all the way down to the census tracts and there's zip codes and counties. And then, you know, most of the countries I'd say get down to about that level.
Yep. Let's see, orange shirt. Plans for infographics for countries outside the US. We are looking at that. We do have plans for that. Can't talk about details right now, but it's something we're thinking about for sure. Yep. On the aisle.
Can you make analysis for Russia?
Can you make analysis for Russia? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Raster. No, we don't have any raster tools right now. They're all vector-based, like polygon-based and point-based.
Second question, how can you export your analysis?
How can you export your analysis? Right now, there's no way to send this back to ArcGIS. This is something that lives inside Power BI. And so the ways that you share Power BI are the ways that you would share this. That being said, right now we don't support publish to web or embedded, but those are things that we're looking at.
You cannot copy paste in the Word or Excel or PowerPoint.
I'm sorry?
You cannot copy paste the map or the diagram on the Word, Excel, or PowerPoint.
I don't believe so.
Not, yeah. What you can also do is you can filter the map down to the data level you want, and then you can export that filtered data. It's not ideal, but from there you can pretty easily recreate the map somewhere else.
Yeah, that's just exporting the data behind the map.
Yeah,
it's not
data
actually
behind the
exporting the
map,
map. Yeah. And yeah, reminder, Łukasz is here, so if you have questions about Power BI or Microsoft-related questions, feel free to send those our way as well. So any other questions? Blue shirt.
So the infographics are curated, right? What you guys have done. Is there any plans to allow you to create infographics using packaging data?
So the question, yeah. So the question was related to infographics, and the question was, are we allowing people to use their own data to create infographics, or is that on the roadmap? Currently, that's not something that's on the roadmap. It's something that we can think about. I see the value in it. I definitely have had people ask that for other products. But right now, yes, it's a curated list of like 60 or 65 variables. Yep. Dark shirt.
With the drive time, can you do like multi-ring in the same map? So like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, put in one?
So the question was, can you do multiple drive times in the same map? For example, around a pin, maybe do a 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute. I think you can, right?
No, not currently. It's
Okay.
it's
Not something
you
to
can
try.
basically do one set of drive times, if that makes sense.
yeah.
And so when you create it, it's going to be just the one 5-minute drive time,
Yeah.
Which is why I
The workaround,
created
yeah.
2 maps, one with a different,
Yep. Check shirt.
So if you have a limit on the points up to rectangle date, how are you handling the zip code? Which for the target, which would have 50K.
Yeah, so the polygon limit, if when you're using the location field well, is 4,000. Yep. And so we do suggest doing aggregation to get down under that 4,000 limit. Yep. Blue shirt again. I don't know that that's documented right now, but that's a great idea
That's
to
a
add to our doc
really-
site.
really good idea, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I would have to reach out to our geo-enrichment team and find out. It's not something our team like calculates or computes. We do have geo-enrichment services, and so we just ask, we say, give us the drive time for this particular place. So yeah, you're taking that down.
I'm taking a note.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, please. That'd be fantastic.
Please.
Yeah, you should how to visualize different regions in the states, the US states, Brazil states, but the ways to visualize custom
So that's a great question. He said that he saw the ways that we could map to standard geographies and standard geographic boundaries. Is there a way to map to custom geographic boundaries like watersheds or whatnot? Right now, there's not a way to do that. That's something that I have been hearing a lot, though. So I think it's something that we should consider for the future. Yeah, blue shirt.
Max drive times. Are those do not overlapping drive times?
Can you do, yes, I believe so, yes.
I guess, what do you mean by non-overlapping? Like,
10-minute drive time.
yeah.
Close enough that they would cross each other if they overlap.
At this point, I think it just calculates it and puts it on the map. So if they're close enough that they'll overlap, they'll end up overlapping.
I think probably what you're wanting is to do like a dissolve if they're overlapping. Is that kind of what you're asking for?
Yeah, and in business analysts, there's a non-overlapping option where the drive time will come midpoint between each other and stop.
Oh, I see. That's different than what I was talking about. That's interesting. That's kind of an advanced thing that we'll have to think about and talk about. If you want to email me your exact usage of it, I'd love to hear that. Yeah, check sure.
You mentioned earlier that it's not possible to use this within embedded.
Correct. The question was, the statement from me is this is not usable inside embedded right now. Yes.
With Power BI, can different users offer different reports and then those get published somehow?
So the question was, inside Power BI, can users create and publish different reports? Yes. I mean, any user can create and publish reports.
And then they get published somewhere that you send a link to other people to read them on a read-only basis, like a spot part of web player.
Yeah. Ukash, do you want to speak to that?
So Power BI has a cloud service, powerbi.com,
Okay.
where you can publish your reports and everyone can share and collaborate with it.
Back in the right.
Or they click on a feature, if you have a table of time series, you can use that feature, grab that time series. Just support that.
I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you rephrase?
Feature, you have a table that has a time series related to that feature on
Mm-hmm.
you grab that, you click on that and say, oh, here's the data, time series of that, and you grab it. Is it more pertaining to all data that's sitting in the
I mean, whenever you click on a point in the map, it will either highlight or filter the other visuals in your report. And so if you have that other visual designed to show that time series thing, I don't see why it wouldn't work. It's not something I've done personally, but
you should be able to export the underlying data and get that time series data if that's what you're looking to do. Or if you just want to see it, it should be visible in the other.
yeah. I mean, I think I hear what you're saying is like you click something in the map and then you see another visual like show you the time series for that point. Is that right? Yeah, I think that would be doable as long as that other visual supported the time series and it took the,
That'll just work by default in Power BI.
Yeah, that's kind of the cool thing. We're just one piece of the larger overall system, and so we just tie in the way all the other visuals work together. And so if your model's set up correctly and all the visuals are working together, it'll just work together nicely. Yep.
And feel free to stop by the booth if you needed to see it in person.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay.
You know the publisher for Excel can connect to the drive data or the layer data. Typically, it would only represent the data you have in there, and then
Can I get some more clarification on the publisher and Excel? What's that? Of Power BI? Uh-huh. Yeah, so the question is about can we access data in Excel through publish to Excel, I believe, and Wukash is going to help you out with that.
So the way the capability is like when you publish a Power BI report into the Power BI service, it's a data model that can contain or reference data. And you can load that into Excel. Now that accesses data that's inside the data model. The demographic data, the drive time data that's inside the ArcGIS Maps is actually inside the ArcGIS Map itself. It's not actually materialized inside the model. So service directory rest into the data model, you could, but it's not, like when you're seeing the UI demo here, it's not in the data model, it's just inside the visual.
Yeah, we do have other ways in the ArcGIS Maps tools, like ArcGIS Maps for Office. You can geo-enrich, we call it data enrichment. And so you can actually add a new column to your Excel data and add that geo-enrichment data that you could then bring into something else like Power BI and use it. I don't think that's exactly what you're asking, but I did want to kind of bring that out.
Can you add multiple feature layers?
So the question was, can you add multiple feature layers at the same time? And the answer is no. And that we've spent a long time, we've been trying to do these apps that work for non-GIS folks for a long time. And in our studies, our usability studies that we've done for people that are not GIS experts, one of the things that confused them the most was a table of contents with multiple layers. It just does not make sense to them a lot of the time. And so with this being targeted at that kind of non-spatial, non-GIS business user, we did not want to kind of take that level of complexity to them right away. So that's kind of why we ended up where we ended up.
The setup and the thing be embedded in story map?
Oh, that's a good question. Can this be embedded in a story map? I mean, story maps can link to, I think, any websites, right? I mean, and the website that you could link to could be the published service for your Power BI report. So I would think it could possibly work. It would probably kick you out to the Power BI site, though, and until we get the publish to web stuff working, I don't think it's going to do exactly what you want. Yeah. One more question?
To hear you say that you're limiting the geospatial content to one layer, it was a horrible GIS limitation.
Yes.
And it's great to hear you say that you're doing it because it's listening to your users and you're going to make it more that it's kind of a requirement
Yes.
for people to get individual and use it.
Yes.
I mean, it's a great trade-off.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. That's very kind of you to say. He mentioned that it's nice that we're listening to users and kind of, even though we're limiting the number of layers to one at a time, it was for a good reason, and thank you for acknowledging that. We spent a lot of time on this visual, getting those requirements right, and I'm super proud of this thing. I mean, we've been working on it really hard for the last year or so, and I think it's at a pretty good place. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well.
Just to piggyback on that, because there's a free pro system, right? So perhaps on the pro side, you could add in the extra.
Yeah, so the comment was there's a free and a pro in Power BI, and so right now the free visual from us works in both, but maybe someday with the pro content, or with the pro license, maybe you get more content or functionality or what have you, and I think that's a very smart idea. Yeah.
So when you do a selection and it selects on the map and then the table, can you disconnect in a sense where it's selected, it doesn't affect?
Yeah. Yep. So the question was, right now, whenever you select something on the map, it interacts with the table somehow. Like it might filter, it might highlight. Can you disconnect those things? And the answer is yes, you can. Yeah. Anything else? All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for spending your morning with us.